It was a chilly November afternoon in Chicago. The city's iconic wind whipped through the streets, sending the last golden leaves of fall tumbling along Michigan Avenue. Amidst the bustling crowd, a familiar figure walked alone. Donald Trump, wrapped in a long navy blue coat and sporting his signature red tie, had just wrapped up a meeting. Instead of taking the car waiting for him, he decided to stroll back to his hotel, soaking in the vibrant energy of the city. As he neared Millennium Park, something unusual caught his eye. A woman sat huddled against the wall of a building, her clothes frayed and her face etched with lines of exhaustion. In her trembling hands, she held a weathered cardboard sign that read, "Veteran in need, please help." Trump stopped abruptly. The busy crowd flowed around him like water around a stone, but he didn't move. There was something about the woman's eyes, tired but full of quiet dignity, that held his attention. Slowly he approached her, drawing curious glances from passers-by. "Ma'am," Trump said softly, kneeling slightly to meet her gaze. "What's your name?" The woman looked up, startled. She clearly wasn't expecting anyone, let alone Donald Trump, to address her. "Teresa," she replied hesitantly. "Teresa Hensley. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to bring you even more amazing stories." Trump nodded. "Teresa, you're a veteran?" "Yes, sir," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "I served in the Army for 12 years. Got injured overseas and, well, things have been rough since then." Her words hung heavy in the air. Trump's expression hardened, not in anger, but in determination. "Why are you out here?" he asked gently. "Don't you have somewhere to stay?" Teresa's shoulders sagged as she shook her head. "Lost my apartment a few months back," she admitted. "Couldn't keep up with the rent. I've been trying to get back on my feet, but it's harder than I ever imagined." Trump's heart clenched. Here was a woman who had sacrificed for her country, now left to fend for herself on the unforgiving streets. He knew he couldn't just walk away. "Stay here," he said firmly, reaching into his pocket and pulling out his phone. A quick call later, his assistant Margaret was on the line. "Margaret," Trump said briskly, "find the nearest hotel with an available room and arrange for a doctor to meet us there. This is urgent." "Yes, Mr. Trump, I'm on it," came the swift reply. Hanging up, Trump turned back to Teresa. "Help is on the way," he assured her. But first he flagged down a nearby food vendor and bought her a steaming bowl of soup and a hearty sandwich. Teresa's hands shook as she ate, not from fear, but from the biting cold. As she warmed up, Trump sat beside her, listening as she shared her story. She spoke of her deployments, the friends she had lost, and the injury that cut her military career short. Adjusting to civilian life had been far harder than she anticipated, and without support, she had eventually fallen through the cracks. Minutes later, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the curb. The driver stepped out and opened the door. "Teresa," Trump said gently, helping her to her feet, "let's get you somewhere safe." She hesitated, her voice trembling. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Trump looked her directly in the eyes. "Because someone should have done it a long time ago." The SUV whisked them to a nearby luxury hotel. Thanks to Margaret's quick work, the staff were already prepared. They greeted Teresa warmly and escorted her to a plush suite. Inside, a hot shower, clean clothes, and a cozy bed awaited her. A doctor arrived soon after to examine her, providing much-needed medicine and advice on improving her health. Meanwhile, Margaret had contacted a nonprofit organization specializing in helping homeless veterans. An hour later, Lisa, a representative from Veterans United Support Services, knocked on the door. Sitting beside Teresa, she said, "We're here to help. We'll arrange housing, job training, and everything else you need to get back on your feet." Tears welled in Teresa's eyes as she turned to Trump, who stood quietly in the corner. "I don't even know how to thank you," she said, her voice breaking. "You don't need to thank me," Trump replied. "This is the least we can do for someone who's done so much for this country. Just promise me one thing. When you're able, pay it forward." "I will," Teresa said, her voice now steady with newfound resolve. By the next morning, Veterans United had arranged temporary housing for Teresa. Trump's foundation pledged to cover her rent for the first year, and he personally handed her a check for immediate expenses. As Trump prepared to leave, Teresa stopped him at the door. You've changed my life in ways I can't even describe." "Thank you," Trump smiled. "You're going to do great things, Teresa. I'm sure of it." Walking back into the lively streets of Chicago, Trump felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. In just a few hours, he had helped transform one life. And for Teresa Hensley, a new chapter had begun, one filled with hope, dignity, and the promise of brighter days ahead.